Hey everybody, welcome to The Warp. I'm Jack Rita. In this video I'm going to talk about my 10 favorite Yellow Alert aliens from all of Cosmic, the base game and 7 expansions. Aliens galore. 10 aliens from the Yellow Alert level that I had no part in designing or naming or writing the history or whatever. So let's start off with number 10 is Invader. I really like this alien. It comes with 3 special Destiny cards that you put into the deck whenever you use it. So you shuffle them in. They're called invasion cards. And whenever somebody else draws an invasion card, you actually interrupt their turn, and as invader, you attack them. They'll still get to have their encounter after it's resolved, but you're getting extra encounters. And the same is true when anybody draws your color. You get to have a little invasion. Additionally, as a main player, after an invasion destiny card or your own color is drawn, you get to discard your entire hand and draw a new one before you have that encounter if you want. So it's a real good hand management alien in many ways because it does let you use up your good cards early and often because you know that you can get a new hand relatively quick. So Invader is a lot of fun. I enjoy that alien quite a bit from Cosmic Conflict. Number 9 is Converter. This is from Cosmic Storm, and this is an alien that substitutes cards for ships. And so the way it works is whenever you would lose ships to the warp, you can use this power to discard up to an equal number of cards from your hand. So great at hand management. Plus, you're saving your ship. So each discarded card saves a ship, prevents it from going to the warp. You put it on one of your other colonies. Additionally, whenever you would retrieve one or more ships from the warp, you can instead draw cards from the deck. One for each ship that you do not retrieve from the warp. So the first part, you're shedding cards from your hand, and then those ships aren't going to the warp. So you're going to have a lot more ships to play with the Converter. Occasionally, you go ahead and put some ships in the warp so that you know when you're going to be drawing them, you can get some cards instead. And you can usually do that because, again, you're not going to have that many ships in the warp to begin with. So Converter is a pretty good alien. Our next alien is the Klutz. This one hails from Cosmic Eons. And this alien, whenever you draw more than one card from the deck, including your starting hand, you use the power to drop 1 or 2 of the drawn cards and they're discarded without being replaced. It's a mandatory alien, so you do have to do it. Every once in a while, you're going to get cards and have to get rid of something good. But more often than not, you're able to just keep the good stuff and get rid of 1 or 2 cards that maybe you don't want. On attack 6, get rid of that. Additionally, Klutz, whenever they place more than one ship on the same planet, they get to, it's described as pick up and examine a ship on a neighboring planet. So you pick up a ship from an adjacent planet and boo, send it to the warp. So you have a lot of fun with Klutz, deciding where you're going to attack, or when you're saying, hey, invite me to ally, and why don't you target that planet next to the one where so-and-so has a colony, and we can get rid of one of their ships. And if they aren't paying attention enough to keep more than one ship on a foreign colony, Klutz can really meddle with your foreign colony count. Our next alien is Graviton. And Graviton hails from Cosmic Conflict. This is a really interesting alien because whenever it's a main player, before you select your encounter cards, actually after you select them, before they're revealed, you can use the power to say 10s or 1s. And if you do, then any attack card revealed only uses that digit as the entire value of the card. And so the examples they give here is for an attack 40, if you said 10s, it becomes a 4. And if you say 1s, it becomes a 0. Same thing with an attack 9, which is a 0-9. The 10s would be a 0 and the 1s would be just a 9. So it really compresses the value of the attack cards down considerably, and it makes the ship counts in the encounters much more critical. So when you are Graviton and you have got a number of allies on your side, you know that you stand a really good chance of being able to win just with your ship numbers, and it makes the reinforcements super powerful as well. All right, our next alien is Tide from Cosmic Storm. I really like this alien. It starts off with a couple of cosmic tokens on the sheet, and whenever they win an encounter as a main player, they're going to add a token to the sheet, and then that you as Tide and all of your allies are going to draw one card from the deck for each token on the sheet. Now, if you lose the encounter, if you have more than one token, you'll lose a token, and then everybody who is on the opposing side will discard a card from their hand for each token that is on your sheet. So some players don't like Tide because it does occasionally let the opposing players get rid of bad cards from their hand because they're not at random. They get to choose which cards they lose. But for me, what I like about Tide is that you are incentivized, for instance, if you're the defense early on, to go ahead and play one of your best cards. Try to win as the defense and really try to win as the offense. And you can usually get a lot of people to ally with you because they're going to probably end up getting to draw 3, 4, even more cards. So you have a real good chance with Tide of creating a kind of a snowball effect where you just keep winning and keep adding tokens and keep drawing extra cards. So it's a good problem to have. And even if you do occasionally lose, you're not going to ever lose all of the tokens. So you never get below 1. So I like Tide a lot. I think it's pretty clever and generally it's going to be a very useful alien. Our next alien is from Cosmic Dominion, and it is the Diplomat. And this is a classic alien that got a little bit of a revamp for the Fantasy Flight Edition, kind of an improvement to keep it from being abusive. And the way it works is when they're not a main player, if Diplomat has a negotiate in their hand and the main players in the encounter, at least one of them revealed an attack card, then the Diplomat can reveal and discard their negotiate card to create a 3-way deal between the Diplomat and the 2 main players. And they'll have 2 minutes to make a deal that involves all of them. And nobody can get more than they would normally get in a deal. But boy, it's great as Diplomat. You can get a lot of colonies when you're not a main player. You could still be an ally in the encounter, but you know that if you've got to negotiate, that you can make things go your way. So if the main player on your side negotiates and the other player plays an attack, or if they both play attacks but it doesn't look like it's going well for your side, if you've got that negotiate, you can create that deal situation. And for me as the Diplomat, I'm trying to get negotiate cards from other people as part of those deals. And I'll make promises about, look, I'll get you, I'll save you and involve you in a deal. If possible, if you give me those negotiate cards, because you do need to have them. Otherwise, you don't have a power. So, Diplomat, very powerful, very fun to play, but you got to get those negotiate cards. Our next alien is Sneak, and this is from Cosmic Storm. And this is an alien that it only works on the defense, but what happens is this is one of the few aliens that works on defense and gets something pretty good for losing. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of aliens that only get something when they lose an encounter. But in this case, it works pretty well because as the defense, if they lose the encounter and they lose a home colony, they get to actually send all those ships that would have gone to the warp into any planet in the offense's home system. So they can establish a foreign colony just by losing a home colony. And they don't lose their power if they lose too many home planets. So you can lose all 5 of your home planets and get foreign colonies and win the game. So not that that will happen very much, but it's nice to be able to, you're getting a foreign colony on the losing side as the defense. I mean, the worst case scenario for Sneak is that you're in a deal situation. So you play a negotiate. If they play a negotiate, you're making a deal. You can probably still get a foreign colony out of that. So yeah, you're trying to lose. It's great for hand management as well because you can save all your good cards for when you're on the offense. Our next alien is Antimatter, classic alien. This has always been one of my favorite aliens in Cosmic Encounter, and the basic premise is lower total wins rather than the higher total. And on top of that, antimatter ships and their ally ships subtract rather than adding. and the opposing main player's allies' ships will subtract, but their ships will still add normally. So Antimatter really loves having those low cards, low attack cards. They love to get those negative attack cards from the incursion reward deck. But yeah, you've got a situation where other players have to save some of their low attack cards for when they know that they're encountering you. But the spread, getting some allies on your side, that's usually all it takes. And so I love playing Antimatter because it really changes up the dynamics of a typical Cosmic Encounter game. All right, down to the wire here. The number 2 alien is Philanthropist, one of the most underrated aliens. Maybe not so much anymore, but definitely for many years it was. So as a main player or ally, gets to fire fairly frequently. After the alliances are formed, you get to give somebody on the opposing side a card from your hand. And so a lot of people are like, well, what's so good about that? Actually, you can give it to either of the main players. So it doesn't have to be somebody from the opposing side. It's either main player. You give them a card. So you can give, if you're an ally, you can give the main player on your side a good card, a card that they can use. And of course, you can give the opposing main player the garbage from your hand that you don't really want. So because you are constantly giving cards away, you're drawing new hands more frequently, which is great. It's nice to get a new set of cards so that you can play all your good cards and then give away all your bad cards. And you do make yourself an attractive ally. You can say, look, I got a pretty good card here that I'll give you if you invite me along as an ally. So I love Philanthropist. It's a really good, useful alien throughout the game. Which brings me to my number 1 favorite alien, the Yellow Alert variety, and that is Skeptic. Skeptic finally showed up in Cosmic Alliance. It was a classic alien. I actually kept nagging Kevin Wilson, when are you going to include Skeptic? It's my favorite aliens. And he finally did in the 3rd expansion. And the way the Skeptic works is when they're a main player or an ally. So again, you get to use this ability a lot in the game if you want. Before the encounter cards are selected, you can use this power to tell the opposing main player, I doubt that you're going to win this encounter. So if they agree with you and they're the offense, then they and their allies go home and the encounter ends. If they agree with you and they're the defense, then your side gets to just land on the planet and peacefully coexist with the defense. If, however, they disagree and double doubt you, then the number of ships lost by the losing main player or by the Skeptic is doubled. So if you've brought 4 ships and you double doubt the Skeptic, you're going to lose those 4 plus 4 more. And Skeptic, you got to have a lot of nerve to try to use it. But that's part of one of the reasons why I like it so much, is because you can, if you stare somebody down and you're like, I doubt you're going to win this encounter. Sometimes even if you've got a handful of crap, you just don't have anything good. But if you can bluff them, it's so gratifying. And every once in a while, you got a really good card. And then you kind of play it up. You're like, well, I doubt you're going to win. And try to bait them that way. And then, boom, you play the 30 or the 40. And it's painful. It's painful for them. So those are the Yellow Alert aliens that I love the most from all of the Cosmic Encounter expansions and base game. And yeah, they're just, I like the Yellow Alert aliens a lot anyway. I think in most cases, like all of these aliens, I think a fairly new player could probably handle well. Maybe not Skeptic, it's one that you probably want to have played it a couple of times so that you can really understand the nuances of how to use it. But yeah, these are all just really good, solid aliens. I like them quite a bit. That's my list for yellow. I have a separate one for green up, and I'll do one for red, and then I'll start doing some videos on aliens that I've been involved with that I really like. So thanks for watching.